Should we ask for questions on the first few papers that we listened to? Do we have time for questions now, or shall we move into the next set of presentations?
We think that perhaps we'll move to the presentation and then we take all the questions. We'll take all the questions by the end.
All right.
Is it fine with you?
And it's over to you. You can take over and moderate the rest of the papers, and then we will take.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, very good. So we'll catch up with time also. Yes, so let's start. We have our first presentation, envisaging a conducive teaching and learning environment in Industry 5.0, University de Mascareign. So we have among us Dr. Nirmal Kumar Bichu. Over to you, please.
Okay. C'est ça? C'est full screen. Okay. Fantasy. Next page. Ah, c'est seulement Fantasy. Oh, do we Excel? Okay. So good afternoon to you. My paper is envisaging a conducive teaching and learning environment in Industry 5.0. The case is Université Mascareign. So I'm going to briefly address the aims of the paper. So the aim of the paper is to analyze the impact of Industry 5.0 on holistic education on the local Mauritian higher education system. So my paper aims to find out how holistic education is important to a world that seems to be machine and advanced technology oriented. And my paper is going to shed light onto the need to develop new pedagogical approaches, as well as the integration of technology into the classroom. Now, the current framework is actually tertiary education has broadly focused on the need to have both what we call the specific and broad-based education. It is generally academic oriented since you have examinations with some practical components whereby you can have practical classes, labs, and even industrial placement. So specific technical education was thought to be an important criterion to meet our industry needs in order to have qualified manpower when Mauritius stepped into what we call the status of a newly industrialized nation as from the mid-1980s. Remember that around 1985-86, we had the industrial boom. So there we started to emphasize what we call technical education. Now the problem, I think, throughout this conference, we have been speaking on AI. So AI's importance is now growing in importance. Now we have to also think about the human factor. A lot of debate has been already been ongoing on AI, how we can embrace AI, bring AI to the system here. But we must also think that, I think in most of the debates that we are having right now, the relevance of what we call the human factor. So when you speak of the human factor, how we can integrate it into the educational system. I think you have lots of debate about what type of education we have actually, and how we need to have, for instance, the type of holistic education. You see, when you have the 9-year report, so they spoke on holistic education. So I believe that we need to delve a bit deep into what you call the type of education that we need at this level. And then evidently how this education aligns with Industry 5.0 standards. Now the scope of the research, so I have limited it to my own university where I've been working since 1995 over there, nearly 30 years next year. So we are going to think, we are already having courses on social responsibility, team building, innovation. So these are components that we are trying to include in our program to ensure that we are having a little of what we call our holistic education. So the conceptual framework will address the challenges now that the higher education sector faces when we are thinking of the types of holistic education that we need to have. So holistic is just broad. So in a research paper, we can't just write too much. We have to be a bit focused. So I'm trying to find about some selected types of holistic education that we can have, not all. The methodology. So a questionnaire method, I'm doing research. I'm going to tell you that then whether I have completed or not. So it is among 100 participants that comprise both the academic staff and the students of the university. They are all involved in research, lecturers, academics, they do their own research paper actually here. And the students, they have their own projects to do. So they have actually, we understand that they have a good understanding of AI. They know it quite well, very well they know it. And they're quite astute, whenever you have plagiarism and other things, they know it very well. So I used an interview technique, including questionnaires to assess the results. So when you have staff, I don't use questionnaire that much. I go over there, talk to them, and then have a type of interview technique whereby you're going to have more insight from such people. So 2 types of questionnaires were designed. Now for the students, it's going to be more classical, whereby you have questions, the Likert scale, etc., and then they're going to respond to such questions. Now the results stated that holistic education must be envisioned to meet the challenges of 5.0. You see, when you have something coming, new technology, a developing technology coming to the industry, then we need to also address the educational factor. It cannot be the same. It can be the type of what we call jug-bug learning. That's the traditional learning that we have. So the current challenge is to develop new pedagogical approaches and integrate technology in the classroom. I think since at the primary level, we already have it, and it goes to secondary, tertiary, we have tried little by little to integrate technology. And when it comes to universities, evidently, we embrace technology in a much different and more advanced way. So the challenge is the need to address the ethical concerns related to the use of 5.0. I think an earlier speaker spoke about that. The ethical concerns can be many things, how well we can use it and how badly we can use it. So this is something that we need to understand. And in the immersion context, evidently, there should be the programs. We have to design programs as well, pedagogical, educational programs that involve concepts like ethics. Again, spoken in this conference, creative learning, and broad-based lifelong skills learning to embody what the new industry paradigm expects. I'm going to speak a little more on lifelong learning, probably because it's not a question of broad-based lifelong learning. It could be also life-wide learning, a bit rather than what called lifelong learning. Okay, so these are some of the techniques that we need, the results that we expect to find the research. And then I'm going to add something. So in conclusion, holistic education must be seriously considered to meet the challenges of Industry 5.0. We need to have new pedagogical approaches that includes the integration of technology evidently in the classroom. And then we should also have education that involves ethics, creative learning, and broad-based lifelong skills. And then ethics must be highly withheld. Now, this is just the conclusion. I think I have a few minutes to spare. I've just given my presentation. So I wanted to just tell you that in any system that evolves with time, you see, we have to consider the role of education. Education, where it was in the 70s, how it has evolved over the years through pedagogical teaching, university training, etc. We need also to consider that at the same time, we have the evolution of the industry, where it was 3.0, 4.0 by the 70s to 5.0 right now. Therefore, we can have the same type of education. We have tried to see how well we can integrate such a broad-based concept, we will never have a perfect solution to what we call the type of education that we need. But nevertheless, when we speak of a few elements, let me speak of ethics, it's quite important, Earlier, we need to have books, we need to have other things, but now since we have materials very easily, so the question of ethics arises because we have people, involved in what we call passive learning, and also you have plagiarism, you have copying, etc. Creative learning and creative thinking is very, very important. When you think of creative learning, it means that we need to have students who get involved in activities. They're already getting lots of information compared to where we stood earlier. So creative learning is very important to make them capable of meeting the challenges of what you call 5.0. And also broad-based lifelong skills. You see, the classroom is essentially pedagogical, it's essentially academic. What I have learned, Piaget, what I call 30 years back up to now, this is mainly academic. But beyond that, I think to meet the challenges of the industry, we should also emphasize what is lifelong, what is broad-based learning. The wider knowledge you have, the more adaptable you might be to the challenges of 5.0. So this is basically the work I'm trying to do. I was given the chance to prepare an abstract. I'm working on the paper. I'm not yet completed it, but I'm already getting some of the results. But it seems like people are quite encouraged. They are enthused in thinking that they can contribute to this concept of how education should be a bit better blended, better tailor-made to meet the challenges of 5.0. Otherwise, if you are going to leave it as such, I think we are going to remain the same, what called the status quo, and unfortunately, it's not going to help Mauritius, let's say, face of the future with what you call serenity. So these are some of the questions that you need to think. I'm very happy that at least at the corporate level, at the government level, they are trying to develop policies, for general education. But when it comes to universities, we are more empowered, we are freer to do this. Then I think that at our university level, at the tertiary level, we are here to work out programs which are aligned with what 5.0 expects from us. So thank you very much. I don't want to be longer than that. Of course, if you have questions, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bichu. In fact, I think that this is something which is very important. Yes, we are moving towards the industry 5.0, but the human factor remains something which is very important. So shedding light on this, I think is going to be very important. And you have done it at the level of your institution. And really, I think that extending it to other institutions and to the country itself is going to be very important. Thank you.
Dr. Orhana, as chairperson, we have a request for you. Is it possible for Dr. Acha and Associate Professor Ramjohn to give a presentation? So presentation 6, we move it to 2 because Dr. Acha is the moderator for this session. With your permission.
Yes, of course they can. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'm going to invite Dr. Acha to give his presentation. I think Associate Professor Ramjohn also will be involved in part of the presentation. So Dr. Acha and Associate Professor Ramjohn are both biologists. They work at the MIE and they are in the Department of Science Education. So Shakil in fact was my student at UOM, and Anwar was, we went to the same university, that was Faculté de Sorbonne, Paris. So that's it, we know each other for quite a long time back. So Shakil, your presentation is on STEAM Ahead, Igniting Minds and Forging Futures.
Thank you.
15 minutes, thank you.
Sequence. Dr. Acha, you can begin.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues from Mumbai, colleagues in at MIE right now, all protocols observed. So let me start with the title. So the title of our presentation is STEM Ahead, Igniting Minds and Forging Futures through STEAM Competition. What is the importance, the rationale behind this project, which has been converted into, at the same time, research where we are getting a lot of data, which is going to be very important for us to know in which direction we need to take STEM and STEAM. So existing literature related to sustainability is dominated by scientific discourse through arts, have a leverage role to play in achieving the societal transformation we seek. This study showcases the blending of STEM-related discipline with the arts to foster engagement in sustainability education among grade 9 students in Mauritius. The whole work is underpinned by a framework, the STEAM framework. In fact, we have many, but this one really fits into what we are working on. We want to bring something which is about the real world context. And this real world context is about sustainable education, is about flowers that we have around us. So this is the real context that we have targeted. And what are we referring to when we are referring to STEAM? How do we bring the science, the technology, and the engineering, the arts, and the mathematics together? And what is the outcome of bringing those together? So this is really an example that we are going to showcase here. What is the methodology and epistemology used for this study? We have used the qualitative epistemology foregrounded in a competition-based case study methodology, which is the STEAM competition. The qualitative. Yep. Okay. I'll continue. Yeah, you need to mute you on your side, please. Thank you very much. Okay, so in terms of epistemology and methodology, I'll continue. I was referring to the qualitative data that were collected by observing students' engagement. In fact, the project in itself, we have different types of data collection, but this presentation is going to focus on observation that we did. The first one, this competition included three different parts, three different phases. First one, it was a quiz competition focusing on scientific facts related to flowers. The second part, a dissection cum drawing competition where students had to dissect and draw the external and internal structures of flowers. And the third and last one was an origami competition where students had to design and prototype a model of flower from whatever they have been getting in as information from the drawing, from the quiz, and all those have been integrated to do something like a design. And the sample and target was 46 schools, 46 students from 23 secondary schools, and it was on a voluntary basis. Let's move now to the data collection, analysis, and findings. Data collection for this presentation, we are going to cater only for the observation, where we use a specific checklist for that. Then, after getting all the information, all the observation that we noted, how we analyze it. The analysis was a case study analysis. Finding were in terms of narrative of observations and key themes and patterns that emerge from the observations that we had. Let's take you on board in the competition with few pictures. So it's team approach in action. The first one, figure one, is about the quiz. You can see, for example, different students, they were paired, they were in groups working even for the questions, for the quiz. Questions were set on flowers, on different aspects of flowers, and they had to decide among themselves before giving the answers. The second picture is showcasing the dissection of flower. So students were involved in dissection of flowers, identifying the male and female parts, and from that, they had to draw it. So figure 3, drawing of dissected flowers. Painting followed in figure 4. You can see in figure 5, a dissected part of a flower. And then the final part was origami. So you can see, based on what they have been doing during the first two parts, then they produce something in terms of the origami. This was used for general observation. In fact, we have different checklists. Checklist was used for the first competition, second competition, third one. And we also had one which is for general observation. The criteria that were taken into consideration were effective communication among students, between students, within groups, and with those people who were organizing. So communication at different levels. Collaborative problem solving. During the dissection, you have seen that some issues happen. One of the students already cut the male part off, and then they had to solve those problems, how to go again, how to do that. Integration of different disciplines. We are going to focus mainly on this one for this presentation. Enthusiasm and active participation, respect for team members, persistence in overcoming challenges. And for each, the observer noted the behavior of those students who were involved in those competitions and had to put comments, what they have observed, how they justify the behavior that they have been recording. So I'm going to focus only on one only, that is integration of different disciplines, what type of observation that were recorded. Extract of data collected. Students use scientific knowledge and skills in different phases, such as, first of all, they use scientific knowledge of flower anatomy, including male and female parts of the flower. Sexual reproduction in plants, referring to pollination, fertilization, fruit and seed production, and use and importance of flowers in the quiz competition. So the focus mainly was in terms of scientific knowledge there. Then they had to use scientific knowledge and skills in the second competition, that is dissection and drawing and even for the origami competition, such as flower anatomy as knowledge that they needed, dissection techniques, observation skills, scientific drawings in terms of proportionate and scientific illustration that they had developed, and also anatomical accuracy. What about technology? Use of technological devices such as clickers was used in the quiz. And the student had to prepare their work in terms of drawing, the preparatory work. And that was based on web search. So it was an example of integration of technology in this competition before coming in the competition and at the same time during the competition. Then we have use of design thinking, which is related to engineering, to design thinking. They have had to do the different levels of design thinking. They involved in emphasizing, defining, ideating, prototyping, and testing. All these were used in drawing and origami competition, showcasing spatial reasoning, structural design, precision folding, creativity, and problem solving. Then use of art-related knowledge and skills in the dissection drawing, also in the origami, such as observational drawing, visual analysis, proportional drawing, shading and color theory, paper crafting, precision folding, aesthetic design, and creativity. And then we cannot stop there without the mathematical parts. So mathematical principles such as measurement, proportion, symmetry, shapes, scale in dissection, all those were involved. In fact, through this competition consisting of 3 phases, it was really clear that it was a possibility of bringing different disciplines together. And not only bringing them separately, but in an integrated way, where we brought different disciplines like science, maths, arts, engineering, and technology to have an integrated STEAM. This is going to be my last slide. So my conclusion, students effectively advance interdisciplinary learning initiatives by showcasing critical thinking, design thinking, interdisciplinary communication, mathematical reasoning, research and investigation, and bringing the arts into play, artistic expression and aesthetic. This is a pure example where we can bring different disciplines. When we are referring to STEAM and we are referring to STEM, nowadays we are no more talking about STEM subjects. We are talking about the integration of different disciplines. And this is an example, a pure example, simple, but pure example of STEAM. So thank you.
Thank you, Shakil. Well, I'm not surprised by this presentation coming from 2 biologists. Experiment on flowers, you know how the brain works, creative right side, analytical left side. So you're tapping on both, trying to develop both sides of the brain. I'm not surprised. In fact, this talk will help me. I was thinking, well, I teach plant sciences. I was thinking of just using microscopic pictures and asking students to label. Now I think I'll maintain my thing of drawing and let them develop that artistic thing, because it works synergistically and is very important. Thank you, Shakil. I'll hand you over the floor.
Thank you very much.
We have to connect biology with nature.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, for questions, we'll take that later. So I hand over now to Dr. Rosal. You are going to have 2 presentations on your side, and then we'll move back to the Mauritian table here. Thank you.
So I now thank you, Dr. Shakil, and now I would request Dr. Deshmukh and Ms. Rani to. Sorry? Mrs. Rani to present. Mrs. Rani will be presenting a paper on conceptual change, remedying misconceptions, and fostering creativity and critical thinking in holistic educational environments. All the best. Is the screen visible to everybody? In Mauritius, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Start the slideshow.
Am I audible?
In Mauritius, can you hear Rani?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. Today myself, Rani, along with Dr. Deshmukh will be presenting our work on conceptual change, remedying misconceptions and fostering creativity and critical thinking in holistic educational environments. So the flow of the presentation,
Next slide.
I am taking it. Yeah. Is it on or not? It is on. Yeah, sure. So the flow of the presentation goes, we have the introduction, the sample and methodology, then we'll be looking into fostering industry 5.0. Then we move on to the findings, discussions, and lastly, we'll see the references. So to begin with the introduction, as you know, shifting from industry 4.0 to 5.0, we saw a human touch, which was also highlighted by Professor Daniel. And there were a lot of challenges pointing out. And the first one is the challenge of shortage of skilled workforce. And this can be overcome by giving quality education to foster effective and sustainable production. And it is always seen that constructivism is a better response as considering rote learning. And this was something which was highlighted in the NCF 2023 as well. And this constructivism is also very beneficial when it comes to remediating misconceptions of students. And this has been very scientifically supported as well. So another challenge that comes is to adapt new teaching, that is pedagogical strategies and approaches to accommodate the guidelines that has been highlighted in the industry 5.0. So the constructivism here will be handling the two things simultaneously, that is overcoming the pedagogical approach as well as fostering and remediating misconceptions. So as we see, as we evolve and there are more global challenges, it becomes very complex. So there has to be some sort of skill development, which will involve creativity, critical thinking skills, ethical awareness, and reasoning. And this research that we've done, it actually involves informing and navigating the educational practices and policy that will foster the holistic development of learners who will thrive in the challenges that is going to be presented by the upcoming Industry 5.0. So moving on to the objectives. So there are two objectives that we are going to be looking at to explore the effectiveness of a holistic teaching learning environment and approach in addressing the misconceptions about the plant growth topic among the elementary students, and also to explore the impact of the pedagogical strategy, that is the hands-on approach that we've been hearing a lot today. So moving on to the next slide, what is conceptual change? So this is a very simple model given by Posner. He suggested that any conceptual change will follow a sequential manner. So starting with when there is some sort of unrest with the existing conception that the child has, there will be a dissatisfaction. Then if there is a new conception that is ready, which is intelligible, that is understandable, then when it is going to be plausible as well, that is believable. And lastly, when it is fruitful, that is useful for further inquiry, then the new conception will be reconstructing the older one. So this is the Posner's model for misconception, that is remediation of misconception that was given. So moving on to the next slide, we start with the sample and methodology. So this was done in a Mumbai suburban government school, and there were 51 students, and we used the continuous sampling method, and this will follow a qualitative approach where we ourselves worked as a participant observer, or you can say a facilitator or an educator, where we facilitated 4 sessions with the students in a collaborative learning hands-on model method. And there were 5 tools that we used, starting with 2 pre-tests involving drawing and interview, to find out the reasons, or like to find out the misconceptions and further the reasons behind the misconceptions. Then we did some sort of classroom observations using a checkers list, and we wanted to see what kind of participation the students show, following by post test to understand whether there was some sort of remediation that happened. Coming to the next point. So we can see that students' creativity, critical thinking, and ethical reasoning developed. And we also did data analysis via content analysis of the drawings, thematic analysis of the interview, and we did a triangulation to find from the classroom observation. So when we look at the constructivism approach, which fosters Industry 5.0 education, we have certain points. So diagnosis of misconceptions. It is through accurate diagnosis of misconceptions that educators can design interventions or strategies and optimize the learning outcomes, which will contribute to a skilled and adaptable workforce, which will be ready to thrive the digital age. Moving on to the next slide, hands-on constructivist pedagogical approach. It will help in fostering creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and ethical awareness. And when we incorporate hands-on learning and collaborative learning, it will promote a lot of skill development, which will in turn, prepare the students for the dynamic demands of the Industry 5.0. We try to bridge the gap between the students' misconceptions and accurate understanding of the scientific concepts. So when we see the next slide, we did 3 activities with the students. So we started by asking the students to grow and observe the plants like methi and moong seeds, which are very commonly available. And second activity we did was to let the students understand whether the plant needs air, water, or sunlight for growth. So we gave them a control plant and 3 different conditions, where the first plant was kept in a black box with hole so that the plant is devoid of sunlight. In the second, we asked them to keep the plant in a plastic bag so that they do not have air. And in the last case, we asked them not to water it, and they had to note down their observations over 14 days. And then last, we had a simple activity where we gave them pictures of life cycle of a mango, starting from seed, showing them the depth as well. So this was a very good example with respect to the context, because we did it in Maharashtra, where mango is a very commonly observed tree. So moving on to the next slide, we had various findings. So when we see the first pictures, we see that the students showed this is the pre-test. So students show misconceptions where the roots, as you can see, are not attached to the plant, and they find it correct. And the second part is where you put the seed and it will directly give you chilies, which is the fruit. This is again a very big misconception, because there's a whole lot of cycle and process which is involved. Moving on to the next drawings, if you see, all right. You can, no, ma'am, please, next. Yes. So when you see this drawing again, you can see that the children have drawn how the seed has the root attached to it throughout the life cycle of a plant. This is again a very big misconception that the student had. Moving on to the next drawing, we can see that the students have skipped the flowering stage. So the drawings that they made were of a mango tree. And when you see, there's a skipping of flowering stage that majority of the students had drawn. So this was also something we wanted to address. So moving on to the next question, to the next drawing, sorry. So this was again showing some missing stages. Moving on to the next pre-test that we had. Here we asked them, students, to identify the mistakes that I had drawn for them. And the second drawing is something we had taken from the student's drawing itself. So they could identify that the root is missing, but again, if you see in the first diagram, the first place they have again drawn a seed and the root is attached to it. So still, if you see, even after giving them the drawing, they had some persistent misconceptions. So then we also did some interviews following this, and we came up to the concluding student conceptions and difficulties. So there's a table, I will just run you through some very important things. So all the students had this misconception that water is the only important component for a plant to grow, because that is what they have seen their elders, and they have themselves done this. That is just water the plant. They don't know whether it's kept in the sunlight, so that is also important. So this caused a lot of misconceptions. They also believe that seeds are dead. They didn't know what is the origin of the seed and fruit. So these are some of the misconceptions that was seen throughout. So moving on to the interventions, as we know, we did a lot of activities with the students. So here you can see I made them read a story in Hindi about Paudhe Hi Paudhe, which introduced to them about the different habitats and the structure of the plant. And this is the activity that the students were doing. Moving on to the next picture, you can see this is the assessment that we gave to them to identify the parts of the plants. And of course, we gave them hints so that they find it easy. So they were able to do it. Then moving on, this is them enjoying the activities. They were also writing the worksheet simultaneously. So if we move on to the next thing, you will see them. This is the life cycle of the mango that we asked them to do, and I had assisted them to arrange them in an order. And this is how they understand that you have the fruit from which the seed comes, and then it grows into a plant, tree, and then finally it also dies at some point of time. So moving on to the next slide, you will see there are the post-test drawings which show some sort of improvement. Now the seeds have disappeared while the plant is growing. The roots are attached to the plant. There is a flowering stage which is very evidently seen in the second picture. Then we see the next worksheets. Yeah, again, some drawings which will highlight how the second drawing is showing that the plant is also going to die after a point of time. Moving on to the observation sheets that they had drawn. So this is the control versus the one which was kept without air. And this is how they have written their observations as well, that the plant needs air for growth. And this was something seen similarly for sunlight and water as well. So when we see the post-test interviews, ma'am, next slide. Thank you. So if you see the post-test interviews, the red and the green bar will show you the improvement in the answers of what is the importance of food. Simultaneously, there was another question given to them on the importance of leaves. So they could always show improvement in the post-tests. So when we go to the discussions and implications, yeah. So these are very important points that I'll be highlighting. So when we use hands-on learning approach, it corrected a lot of misconceptions, which is vital for preparing the students for the Industry 5.0. They had an improved understanding. So this is also again essential for an interdisciplinary knowledge approach in Industry 5.0. When there is skill development like problem solving, teamwork, communication, which was a part of the collaborative learning sessions that we took, this is again going to be helping in the readiness. Then we also had a lot of creativity, critical thinking, analytical skills that developed throughout the sessions. There was also a lot of multidisciplinary skill because there was a lot of scientific understanding which prepares the student for the dynamic challenges that will be thrown towards them with the Industry 5.0. Then there was a lot of integrating ethical discussions as well in education that will help them navigate their complex ethical issues in emerging the technologies of Industry 5.0. Now, we would like to thank a few people who were very crucial for this research to take place. We'll start with the authorities that gave us permission to get into the school, starting with the administrative officer, Mr. Nasir, the school principal, Mrs. Lalita ma'am, and Mrs. Ujwala ma'am, who was throughout there to help us and support us. And I would like to thank my mentor, Dr. Rafiq Sheikh from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, who guided us throughout. Then I'd like to thank Dr. Savita ma'am from HBCSE, who gave us the permission to do this. And my friend, Mrs. Sonali, who was present here, she gave me a lot of support throughout the sessions. And we would like to thank the family and friends. I would also like to thank a very special friend of mine, Mrs. Koman, who helped me design the sessions with her expertise. So moving on to my references. These are some of my references. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rani. That was a very interesting project.
Thank you so much.
We go on to the next one, Dr. Fauzia Khanam.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah.
afternoon, all of you. I would like to, first of all, I would like to thank the organizer of this conference and allowing me to attend this conference online due to some personal reasons. My topic is integrating teaching strategies, technological advancement, and holistic learning, advancing education for sustainable development. This is a review of literature to map the conceptual framework overlapping the key areas identified by the researcher. In the present study, I have used an AI partner, Epsilon, to select the literature from the Open Access Journal. I have also identified the three key areas as sustainability, technological advancement, and holistic learning to envision the goal of Industry 5.0 and advancing towards education for sustainable development. I have used different combination of these three areas, and I have undergone search results selecting the relevant literature that fulfills the objective. My purpose of study is to map the conceptual framework in the common areas of holistic learning, technological advancement, and sustainability, and to map the route of education for sustainable development through teaching strategy encompassing holistic learning, technological advancement, and sustainability. Before proceeding, I would like to introduce myself because I'm Dr. Fawzia Khanum. I've been working in education for sustainable development in this field from last 6-7 years. I've been publishing papers on education for sustainable development, and this is my forte area. I have done a literature review on these concepts, sustainability and holistic learning. From 2010 to 2022, I have in this concept map, I have highlighted the key takeaways from the reviews of published in these area from Semantic Scholar. Review have been summarized with the help of Epsilon. In the 2010, we can see that it has proposed a framework for achieving a sustainable, equitable, and prosperous world by 2030. It seeks to operationalize sustainability by recognizing human interconnectedness with ecosystem. A new definition of sustainability based on Islamic views, emphasizing the inclusion of spiritual, cultural, and knowledge sustainability. It is also one of the researchers is also advocating for sharp carbon dioxide emission reduction and technological innovation, which cannot be achieved without compromising our standard of living. In 2012, one of the researchers focused on to build a sustainable economy, which needs to focus on cooperative behavior. It suggests that international cooperation and scientific leadership, it examines three key elements of sustainability: longevity, maintenance of core principles or purposes, and responsibility to external needs. One of the study has focused on integration of health and sustainability, innovative policies, development of innovative policies, science and technology with collaboration with the stakeholders. Next, in 2018, a conceptual framework that combines with holistic treatment and transboundary thinking to analyze, develop, and evaluate action plans. One of the studies focuses on integrating the biological approach. It also highlights the importance of interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research. In 2019, one of the research focuses on needs of systematic learning in long-term approach to build up a sustainable society. Basically, in 2002, this is the recent area which is developing. So teaching and learning that emphasize learning from the living system and achieve to a systematic change. Next is this. I have summarized these points in some core points, which is how holistic pedagogy, transformative learning, interdisciplinary, multisensory learning, real-world application, curriculum integration, and student engagement. Sorry. Other was I identified those areas which were overlapping between holistic learning and technological advancement, and how holistic learning impact how technological advancement impacts holistic learning. So when we integrate technology into the teaching method, we can use new innovative methods. One of the studies emphasized the interconnectedness of all aspects of life and the need for education to nurture whole person. That is a holistic personality. It also emphasized the use of emerging technology to support digital media literacy. It emphasized use of emerging technologies like social media, mobile communication system in higher education. In 2014, one of the study shows that there is an effective transformative learning requires a holistic approach that integrates cognitive, physical, emotional, and spiritual dimension. In 2015, we can see that it explores new model of course delivery such as MOOCs and flipped classroom and examines the use of technology like tablets. In 2018, we can note a lack of empirical evidence to support the claim of benefits of technologically enhanced learning. Now you can see that the era of big data has come and its analytics impact on education system. You can preferably see on our personal life and how it has influenced our personalized learning solution. Okay. 2019, which shows that it shows a trend and direction for adult education. It widens. We can see there is a gap between a scientific advancement and technology, and we can see that it is fulfilling those community which is marginalized, especially. In 2020, we can see that there is an emerging learning technology highlighting systematic review, and there has been a meta-analysis in these areas such as social media, open educational resources, MOOCs, and synchronous, and there is a development of synchronous learning. In 2022, we are seeing that there is a heterogeneous nature of education technology. There's the technology is developing from all sides and all parameters, and it has accelerated in the era of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, I have summarized these learnings into some of the key takeaways. Holistic learning significantly impacts technological advancement by fostering critical awareness, collaboration, and development of essential 21st century skills. This approach integrates cognitive, affective, and spiritual dimension, enabling learners to engage deeply with their social organizational context, thus promoting transformative learning and self-managing groups. Holistic education emphasizes interconnectedness and development of whole person, which aligns with the principle of global and environmental education, aiming to create a society that lives in harmony with the environment. This interconnectedness perspective can drive technological innovation by encouraging the use of technology to solve broader societal issues such as climate change and education for at-risk kids. Moreover, technologically enhanced learning supports active management, critical thinking, civic engagement, contributing to a better sustainable society. In all that means holistic learning has been enriching individual development, but also drives technological advancement that addresses some complex issues throughout our global challenges. Now, the next phase is we have studied those reviews which are overlapping. That means how technology is impacting sustainability. We can see from the concept mapping that this area is increasingly advancing at a very high pace. And in 2013, we can say that the concept of smart, secure, inclusive city came about. In 2016, it highlights the potential of ICT to improve energy efficiency and importance of systematic thinking in the role of technology and how it impacts on sustainable development. It highlights the importance of knowledge production, preservation, and diffusion. It highlights, in 2020, it highlights the issue in the Indian education system. One of the study is done on Indian education system and how AI-enabled solution has addressed these gaps, emphasizing sustainability, smoothness, and transparency in learning. It also highlights the role of governance in promoting sustainable agriculture. One of the study has developed a relationship between technology and development and corporate social responsibility. It has also highlighted the importance of intelligent decision making, human-machine collaboration, and effective communication, which are the studies of 2021. Now, in 2022, various studies have come about from various other, we can see that different fields have been contributing to the study. The effects of green growth, technological innovation, government effectiveness on sustainable development goals. The study has been done on context of Industry 4.0. It finds that integrating smart technologies significantly enhances sustainability. Also, some of the countries can achieve sustainable development by balancing economic growth, ecological health, and social equity. One of the study has studied the sustainability index, sustainable development in form of EGDI, one form of index, which assess the development on parameters like internet users growth, ICT factor, and it has been seen that it is positively influencing sustainable economic growth. It is found that the renewable energy production and technological innovation enhance environmental sustainability. Application of adoption of artificial intelligence. These are new field in in ICT, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and Internet of Things to promote sustainable socio-ecological transition. In 2023, it has identified, you can see that there has been a study in which 26 key factors influencing these integration across domains such as energy, mobility, water security, waste management, providing insight for stakeholders to develop strategies for sustainable and efficient urban environment. The implication of Industry 5.0 for various sectors, including its potential to enhance human-machine collaboration and drive sustainable development. It has also been studied that there is a meta-analysis to evaluate ESG, that is environmental, social, and governance factor affecting business sustainability. It has investigated how fourth industrial revolution technologies can support sustainable development. One of the studies has been done in Africa. The other study has shown impact of digital transformation on higher education and its role in sustainable development. Now, in 2024, the studies have been done, which shows that it provides in-depth review of small scale and medium scale industry. What is the impact of digitalization on small and medium scale industry, and how it is achieving sustainable goals. It provides an in-depth review of how the importance of ongoing collaboration to overcome limited access to. That means there are countries like Africa which have limited access of technology, financial resource. So we can work collaboratively to remove these, limitations. These has been summarized like these in these points. So the reduction of environmental impact, it is necessary when we are talking about, when we are working on technological advancement. Technology should achieve reduction of environmental impact. It should achieve economic growth and emission, and work on corporate social responsibility. And new technological vision should be undertaken so that we can achieve social and environmental goals. New digital technology like AI, blockchain, IoT, and big data analytics can significantly enhance these environmental sustainability. We have to come about some policy regulations which can enhance the capacity for change. If I summarize, it is like technological advancement play a pivotal role in promoting sustainability by reducing environmental impacts, supporting corporate social responsibility, and enabling the transitions to sustainable society. Now, if I have been, I have underlined those key issues which we work upon as in a theme, we can say that if we work upon these according to these themes on our and integrate these themes in our teaching and learning and making our curriculum objectives, we can achieve sustainable development and we can advance towards sustainable development surely, which are holistic. There should be an holistic pedagogy. There should be transformative learning. That means we must attain cognitive, psychomotor, affective, all aspects of our personality. We have been talking about a lot of paper have been presenting on interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. We must achieve that. And there must be real world engagement. The curriculum must be integrated and students must be engaged. And the other is we must develop critical awareness. There should be collaborative development of essential. We must develop essential 21st century skills. We must integrate cognitive, affective, and spiritual dimensions. One of the studies have suggested that there must be some of the spiritual dimension or moral or value oriented society. And we must there must be development of core personality, or in other terms, an holistic personality, which aligns with the principle of global and encouraging the use of technology to solve broader societal issues and issues in environmental education. Now, technologically enhanced learning will support active engagement, critical thinking, and civic engagement, especially. The sustainability aspect of it is reduction of environmental impact. The content of our teaching must include how can we reduce our environmental impact, how can we work upon economic growth and emissions, what are students, what are the corporate social responsibility, and we can introduce new technological vision and digital technology with a suggestion of policy regulation in the curriculum. This is all. Thank you. I hope
Thank you, Ms. Fauzia, for that comprehensive overview on contemporary research on advancing education for sustainable development. We move to the next presenter, that is Ms. Lin Xia, I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, and Dr. Eric Binder. Dr. Archer, I'm not sure if the next presenter is from Mauritius. Could you take over that, moderate that presentation, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Rosal. Yeah, so we are going to move to the next presentation, that is AI integration in Mauritius, empowering leadership for Industry 5.0. So over to you, Mrs. Lin Xia. Thank you. Yeah. Is it possible to stop sharing your screen there? Thank you.
Can you ask them to stop the
Dr. Fauzia, please stop the screen share so that the next presenter could share their screen.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Colleagues from Mauritius, colleagues from Mumbai, all protocols observed. And the presentation of my topic is AI integration in Mauritius, empowering leadership for Industry 5.0. So nowadays we have an emergence of artificial intelligence and machine learning worldwide that has brought about a new era in business operations in the 21st century. So it is widely anticipated that AI will have a very important impact on business leadership. Leaders will face multiple obstacles when it comes to using AI, and such as those pertaining to data security and ethical considerations. So the objective of my study is to investigate the factors that contribute most significantly to the benefits and challenges of AI adoption for leaders, and to assess the extent of correlation between the increasing adoption of AI tech in Mauritius and leaders' prioritization of ensuring the ethical and unbiased operation of AI systems. So my research offers useful insights into how AI will impact the duties as well as responsibilities of corporate leaders and executives. A brief definition of leadership is seen as an activity that's motivating others to dedicate themselves towards a common goal and work towards its realization. And the focus of this study is on the nature of successful leadership in the workplace of the future, rather than on trying to define leadership in the modern world. So here, the aim of this study is on workplace of the future. It recognizes that people surveyed for this research could have different conceptions of leadership. We have AI, the second part, which is encompassing various perspectives regarding the capabilities of intelligent machines. This study, it aims at exploring leaders' expectations and personal interpretations of AI. We are recognizing that their views may differ. Rather than attempting to precisely define AI, the focus of this study is understanding how current and future leaders will conceptualize the technology and its implications for their career. As we know, AI in the workplace, we have so many challenges as well as benefits that this is providing us. Some of the advantages of AI in leadership in the modern era is that it's enhancing human expertise, whereby AI is possessing the ability to enhance leaders' capabilities. We are having immediate insights, fostering social interaction among individuals, and facilitating collaborations between human and robots. We have leveraging AI and big data for data-driven decision-making, whereby we are using AI and big data tech to enable HR managers to rely on data-driven insights rather than solely human interactions or experiences, thereby ensuring a more precise and well-informed decision-making, because here we are not using only human, but we are also using human plus technology to arrive at decisions. We are automating the internal procedures and tasks, so adopting machine learning technology, of course, reduces time and resources for leaders and enterprises, and additionally improves decision-making skills by offering significant insights by using data visualization. It's also improving leaders' outcome and processes, whereby we see enhancement in productivity, and this ensures that choices are based on data-driven analysis, thereby ensuring a more efficient leadership results. Of course, with the advantages come the disadvantages, the drawbacks of AI in leadership as well. So here, there need to be a good balance between delegating decision-making authority to AI tools. So decision makers, leaders of tomorrow may encounter hurdles when dealing with the complexity of AI tech, especially when managing large volume of data and determining the appropriate division of decision-making authority between AI and human leaders. There is also the social impact of AI integration in the workplace, whereby we see challenges, struggles of companies facing in human resource planning. So there need to be a good balance of amount of work to be delegated to robots and humans. There is also privacy in AI data, AI-driven HR management. So the efficient use of AI in human resource management, this is strongly dependent on extensive data. And here comes the safeguarding of privacy, a crucial issue and a possible vulnerability. We have our first hypothesis being derived. So the rise of AI tech in Mauritius is associated with a heightened emphasis among leaders on ensuring the ethical and unbiased functioning of AI system. Our research used an e-survey questionnaire, and this was distributed to leaders in different industries to ensure we have a good representation among leaders. And the aim was to understand how leaders will perceive, they accept, and employ AI tech. And the survey questionnaire, it encompassed issues relating to several facets of opportunities that AI bring and the limitation as well of this tool on leadership skills. We use the simple random sampling method, which is a probabilistic sampling approach to ensure that each individual unit of our population had an equal probability of being chosen. And there was equal probability of selection of every leaders in different industry. This sampling method, it aids us in reducing sampling bias, and it assured that the sample, it accurately represented the population of leaders in Mauritius. In this respect, the sample size of our research amounted to 200 leaders. And coming to our analysis of findings, we saw that majority of our respondents out of 22 leaders, we had mostly female leaders answering our survey, and the largest range were between 30 to 40 years, young leaders, I would say, who adequately understand the AI tools in Mauritius. And higher representation was from the tourism and financial sector, banking sector. We also calculated our Cronbach alpha, and we saw that our questionnaire was consistent internally. And because our values range from 0.76 to 0.907, which was greater than 0.7 for all our variables, we had KMO and Bartlett test, Pearson correlation, multiple linear regression being carried out, and results demonstrated that we had a meaningful correlation between increased usage of AI and emphasis on fostering collaborative motivation and creativity in employees. This implies that AI tech is becoming more and more prevalent in Mauritius, and leaders will recognize the importance of creating a collaborative and innovative workplace to leverage human talents alongside AI capabilities. Similarly, we saw that there was a strong correlation between increase in AI and active participation of leaders in supervising AI system, reflecting a proactive stance among executives. They were increasingly involved in overseeing AI systems to ensure its accuracy, ethicality and impartiality in decision making. So this proactive approach, it indicates a commitment to maintaining ethical standards and fostering trust within an organization. So the Pearson, this is a little bit about the discussion of the results, where the Pearson correlation coefficient was ranging between 0.49 and 0.816. And to sum up, statistical findings show that leaders are taking a proactive approach in dealing with the ethical and operational difficulties that come along with adopting AI. So to conclude, the research, it emphasizes on significance of leaders in promoting cooperation, motivation, and innovation among workers in the era of AI. So statistical findings do confirm the significance of proactive leaders in resolving AI dilemmas, issues, and assuring ethical decision-making. So this is supported by a strong positive correlation between leaders who oversee AI system and the growth of AI in Mauritius. So recommendations can be to embrace change in leadership, invest more in technological knowledge, and integrate AI within business. So future research in AI influence on leadership could explore moral implications of incorporating AI in leadership roles, particularly focusing on responsibility and transparency in decision making. So of course, this research, it do come with its limitations. Like this study was more on, the data was more on one particular time period. So maybe in the future, it is recommended to have a study which is looking at several data set in different years. And this study was done in Mauritius. Maybe we could do similar studies in developed and developing countries and do the comparison as well. So that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Linsha. In fact, we are talking about the AI period now, and those information are very important for each and everyone, whether it is for leaders and others. And what is very interesting with the robust statistical presentation that you have had in terms of the correlation which you are bringing about AI positive leaders and how they are going to input to lead this AI industry in. Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. So now let me move to the next one. The next presentation is Enhancing Early Childhood Mathematics, Adapting Pedagogies for Future Challenges. Hope Kiran Narayan and Dr. Bulwa. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone from Mauritius and India. I'm Dr. Polwa. I'm presenting on behalf of Mrs. Narayan, who could not make it today due to some unforeseen circumstances. So I'm basically presenting and sharing insights on our early maths project, which we conducted in the year 2022. To begin with, let me re-emphasize a bit early childhood mathematics, where I'm sure you're all aware that children develop foundation skills in numeracy, spatial awareness, logical reasoning. Now, these skills are not just about learning numbers. It's not about only numeracy, but rather they're also important to foster a mindset which is curious, analytical, innovative, And most importantly, the way that we teach mathematics at pre-primary can significantly influence children's attitudes towards the subject and the overall academic trajectory. Therefore, it is important to explore the significance of early mathematics education and how we can adapt our teaching methods to address future challenges. To meet the demands of Industry 5.0, we need to adopt dynamic, inclusive, and effective teaching strategies to work alongside technology. And these are some of the goals of Industry 5.0. And accustom learners as early as possible. But here we are stressing that technology should complement traditional teaching, traditional methods, and not replace them. Some strategies could be by incorporating mathematical concepts into play. You can make learning engaging and meaningful through the use of interactive apps and educational games. We can connect math to real-life situations, which will help children understand its relevance. Cooking, shopping, and nature exploration can be very helpful in teaching counting, measurement, and patterns. And also, importantly, we should have continuous professional development of teachers with the skills to implement innovative strategies and to support the young learners into the early mathematics. Right, now we come to the project, which we started in 2019, and obviously you would have identified that it was affected by the COVID, and it also affected some of our research plans that we had. But overall, we wanted to adapt teaching and learning methods, especially to try to integrate the technology. So our main focus was developing technological resources and empowering pre-primary teachers. Our methodology was essentially qualitative, where we had classroom observations, field notes, and interviews. We started by reviewing existing documents, mostly the National Curriculum Framework for Early Childhood, to identify areas for improvement and gaps. We analyzed current teaching practices of our pre-primary teachers. We explored theories as well and recent research to inform our new approaches and tools. Obviously, we obtained all necessary authorization and ethical considerations were observed. 20 schools across the whole country participated, and 2 pre-primary teachers per school, so we had a sample of 40 teachers. There's some snapshots of some of our activities and involvement at the school level. The project deliverables, the key deliverables, include some interactive digital resources in the form of HTML files, which we had developed for young learners, for teachers as well. Videos of best practices for teacher empowerment were developed. We had activity sheets, which were based on the research and also on the best practices, and also a comprehensive teacher's guide how to accompany, to support our teachers. Now, these are some of resources that we had developed. These are in our MI website. The Flip HTML, where you can see that it is interactive, by the way, where we can, here there is a cycle of from research. And in the Flip HTML, you can see on the left-hand side, we have included videos, and on the right-hand side, the activities to support how those videos, how those activities could be performed by the teachers. So some of the highlights of our study. Now, we have seen, because we have been there at school for observations, some improved engagement and interest of children in doing the mathematical activities. We have also found that teachers have become a bit more confident in teaching mathematics. And most importantly, they gain a wider perspective of foundational concepts of mathematics. They tend to believe that mathematics is counting. Okay, so teaching young learners to count is a most important focus in mathematics, but now they had a wider perspective like spatial awareness, spaces, pattern recognition, logical reasoning, all those form part of teaching mathematics or mathematics education. The teachers work together in the form of community of practice, and this is something that helped them to improve, to gain the knowledge and skills together. And overall, the schools reported positive feedback and expressed interest in continuing the new approaches. So in conclusion, therefore, we would say that we are still working on this project now, a second part of it, to see how the benefits, the impacts of our resources and tools. But most important should be a continued support for early childhood mathematics, even in this age of digital era. And what we are calling for action is in line with the goals of Industry 5.0. We must embrace technology integration, but this could only be done with initial teacher preparation and continuous professional development. So with this, I would like to end my presentation and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bulwa. So now let's move to the last one. We have a presentation by a team, Dr. Bulwa again, Mrs. Savila Tapemal, and Dr. Ajay Ramphal. The title is Pedagogical Affordances and Limitations of AI-Generated Solutions to Mathematical Problems at the Elementary Level. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. A very good afternoon to all of you, to colleagues from India and Mauritius. So, like, I guess the presentations that we have been hearing, everybody's talking about AI. So we also in maths education, we try to see in what way is it relevant and how can it help us in terms of our job, in terms of teacher training, curriculum development. So very much what I'm going to share with you is some of the observation that we have made in terms of the affordances and limitations of AI. I know people tend to use it to solve very large problems, but in this presentation, we are going to consider very simple problems and try to see what we can observe from AI. So based on the initial exploration that we have been doing, what we can see is that really AI do enhance our understanding of problems. It gives accessibility to a number of things that probably previously could not be accessed. And importantly, when you are solving problem, it gives you immediate feedback, helps you to make correction in the problem that you are solving. So now students at home, if they can use ChatGPT, for example, to solve maths problem, so they don't need the teacher always on their side, so they can use this as a support as they are learning mathematics. And also, interestingly, is when you have challenging problems where you are trying to use different pathways to solve problems, then AI can be really a very useful tool, what we call productive struggle. So these are the potential that we have observed, but what we are going to present very briefly today is very much about problem solving and how AI fits in, right? As you know, problem solving, this is a very essence of mathematics. So we are learning all these tools and concepts so that at the end of the day, we are able to solve problems, right? And also to be able to solve problems, you need to have a range of concepts, a repertoire of concepts, of principles, of approaches, then only you are able to solve problems. So basically what we are going to present is specific type of problem, which are what we have called demanding problems. So demanding problems are problems which involve multiple steps. That is, it is not just like 2 times 3, but involves several steps. It requires also implicit inferences. So you have all the variable in the problem and where you have the quantities where you need to set up relationship. I'm going to give an example. Okay. And also, when we talk about demanding problems, these problems can be solved by a variety of strategies. There's no single solution to these type of problems, right? So you can use diagrams, a visual approach, you can use algebra, or you can also use intuitive type of non-algebraic approaches. So let me give you one problem that we call a demanding problem, right? So suppose you have, if 30 men can build a wall 56 meters long in 5 days, what length of a similar wall can be built by 40 men in 3 days, right? So you can see in this problem, we have 3 variables. We have number of manpower, we have the length of the wall, and then we have number of days. So to solve this problem, you're not coordinating 2 variables, but you're coordinating 3 variables. And when we ask primary pupils to solve these type of problems, it requires some thinking, inference, and can be quite difficult also at times. So let me give you another example from our mathematics grade 6 textbook, right? So there are 90 members in the mathematics club. There were 90 members in the mathematics club at school at first. 40% of them were boys. After some boys left the club, the percentage of boys decreased to 28%, right? How many boys left the club? So you can see these type of problems involve working with unknown quantities, right? And it requires particular type of thinking. So what we have tried to do in this study is we have tried to solve these problems using ChatGPT, right? And try to see what type of problem, what type of solution do they provide. And what we have observed in our preliminary working is that AI tend to give algebraic solutions. So they don't give you solution for primary level pupils. They give you algebraic solutions. And also when you ask ChatGPT, the good thing is that you can ask them, give me a non-algebraic solution. They will give you non-algebraic solution, but these non-algebraic solutions are not always correct. Okay. So So what is the aim of the current study? So we wanted to know what are the things that AI can do in solving these type of problems. So what are the affordances and also what are the limitations in providing a solution, not for an adult, but for primary level pupil, right? So elementary level of pupil. So this is what was the purpose of this study. So in terms of the methodology, so what we did is we took like problems from the PISA, the National Primary Examination from Mauritius, the demanding ones, and also we chose problems from our grade 6 textbook. And we tried to run these problems through through ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, and Hanuman, right? There are 4 type of chatbots that are available and that you can readily use. And we wanted to see how do they solve these problems. So before I give you the response from ChatGPT, let's try to look at this problem that I have just presented. There were 90 members in the mathematics club at school at first. 40% of them were boys, right? After some boys left the club, the percentage of boys decreased to 28%, right? You got the problem, right? How many boys left the club? So an elementary level of solution for this type of problem, first of all, you need to know that there are 90 students. The first inference is that since 40% are boys, then you have to infer that 60% are girls. If you know that 40% are boys, then 40% of 90, this means you have 36 students who are boys and 54 girls, right? The second inference, what the problem says is at the end, there are 28% boys left. If 28% boys are left, then the inference is that 72% girls are there, right? But also importantly, the number of girls have remained the same. Yeah. So this means the 70% that you have, this represents 54 students. So you can find for 1%, you can find for 28%. This means you have 21 boys. So initially there was 36, now you have 21, which means 15 boys. So I'm not explaining a maths problem. I'm explaining this just so that you can compare with what ChatGPT gives you, right? So this is how we would be teaching this problem in an elementary school for grade 6 students. Now we asked ChatGPT to solve this problem, right? And what is interesting, it unfolds the problem in a very systematic way for you. Because in mathematics, there's a well-known heuristic that we use to solve problems. It's known as Polya's 4 steps method. The first step is understand the problem. So if you look at this problem, so to solve this problem, we'll follow these steps. Determine the initial number of boys and girls in the club. The total number of members in the club initially is 90. So it is providing affordance for the students. So 40% of the members were boys. So the number of boys initially is 40% of 90, which is 36. The number of girls is 90 minus 36. Very good, right? Which is pedagogical, informative. But then when you move to the next step, right? It starts to use X. It moves directly to algebra because these ChatGPT, they are algorithmically driven. So it uses a lot of algebra. So you don't get this primary level type of solution. And once you put the problem in terms of algebra, you need to have a sound knowledge of basic algebra to be able to solve it. So it is useful, but for primary level pupils, it does not give you a solution that is accessible. Okay, so that's the point that we are making. So what we did is we took these 4 chatbots, right? And we run the same problem in the 4 chatbots. And we look at the answers. The first one, Hanuman, gave you 6, ChatGPT gave you answer 15, and then Gemini 10, and Copilot give 15. So you can see 2 of these chatbots give you the incorrect answer. Right? And people are using AI for medicine, for high level, but these are simple maths problem. So this is the point that we are making. And if you look, we ask them to, can you give us, the good thing with the ChatGPT, you can ask precise question. Give us non-algebraic. So when we ask non-algebraic, they give different type of solution and incorrect, right? So that's the interesting thing that we wanted to share with you. So, and we wanted to understand how did this ChatGPT, this one I think was Gemini, made this type of mistake. So you can see in the green box that I have made. So number of remaining members is total members times new percentage of boys. This is the incorrect inference. So you can see in the algorithm itself, sometimes they do make the mistake. Okay, and this is the flaws that we have observed. Okay, so I have another problem. I'm not going to go in all the detail, but these are primary level problems that are taken from the textbook and CPE and PESAC examination. And then when you solve here, the answer for this problem is 210. But look at the different type of answers that you got for the same problem, right? And an elementary level of problem. So what we are trying to say is actually what are the affordance? It does break the problem in terms of steps at the first level in terms of the understanding. It does help students to understand the problem, but then it does provide different type of solution also. If you ask for algebraic, maybe somebody in grade 7, 8, it will provide an algebraic model. It will provide you other model that we use. For example, we use a lot of diagrams, what we call bar models. It also gives you intuitive solution. And what we have observed, if you give ChatGPT the solution and you ask them to give you the thinking, he can work backward and give you the thinking process, okay? And also it emphasizes the verification of answers. Very often students solve problems, they don't verify. But what is good with this type of chatbot is that it emphasizes the necessity to verify answers. And importantly, it provides opportunities for interaction. So these are the good points, the affordances. So, but the limitations, as I have mentioned, they produce incorrect answers. And also they try to use a lot of trial and error. So whatever problem you give them, they are going to give you an answer, right? The algorithm is very intelligent and cunning. It will go in different ways and find an answer and give you, but the answer may not be correct. Okay, so I guess for us, what we conclude is that it's a powerful tool, but I guess it still need to be improved. But the good thing is it engages learners. So what Ajib, Dr. Bulwa is currently working on this. So we are trying to identify the nature of flows in mathematical arguments, not only in numerical problems, but also in algebraic problems and also in geometry. Okay, so this is I know it's a very slim thing that we are showing, but it's an issue that need to be considered. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ajay. Really eye-opening, because whatever we have a lot of very positive things about AI, but we need to take everything with a pinch of salt. So on our side, we have completed the presentation. So I'll hand over to Dr. Rosal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Archer. Those presentations were very eye-opening and very insightful. I made some comments on all of them, but in the so I'll quickly go through them, and then we have just about 10 minutes for questions, just to keep time. So we started with Professor Nirmal Kumar Vechu's presentation on envisaging a conducive teaching learning environment in Industry 5.0. And he spoke about ethics, creative, broad-based lifelong skills, and holistic education, integrating holistic education, which is one of the challenges for Industry 5.0. I was just wondering, what were the broad-based, how would you define broad-based learning, and what would be the, what are you doing to measure the outcomes of broad-based learning? You said you used a questionnaire, but how do you measure the outcomes of broad-based learning? Because the questionnaire asked, what were the salient features of it, but when you spoke about broad-based learning, I thought that there could be more. I wanted more clarity on understanding it, just for my own better understanding of how the challenges of holistic education can be met in Industry 5.0. But we can move to that later. I'll just run through all the comments, and then we can have the questions. The STEAM Ahead presentation. It was very eye-opening for me, because it was from
नहीं ना जी बाजी अभी आलिया बाजी का क्या है
it was from moving from a quiz to getting these children to draw, to then getting them to dissect a flower, then draw, and then do an origami model. And I understand how important it is to have that holistic perspective where you integrate the arts along with STEM, because one without the other is not complete in any way. Then Rani's presentation along with Dr. Deshmukh on remedying misconceptions, that was so insightful, because there are so many things that we assume that children know, but when you actually ask them to do it, you realize the things that they don't know. And early intervention is so important to ensure that the concepts are clearly understood. It's something that teachers can learn a lot from. Dr. Fauzia Khanam did something on, she did a comprehensive overview on contemporary literature on advancing education for sustainable development. A lot of insights there for those who want to pursue further research in sustainable development. And Dr. Mrs. Linsha and Dr. Eric Binda's presentation on the integration of AI in empowering leadership for Industry 5.0. was also very interesting because you said that one of the challenges that people face with the integration of AI is how do you monitor the ethics and regulate the, create those safety nets around the integration of AI. And one of the things that came out through the presentation, through the research, was that leaders are maintain a proactive approach in maintaining ethical standards in the integration of AI. And there is always this fear that AI may lead to the loss of humanity in our workplaces, but the research proved the contrary, that actually there was more collaboration, motivation, and creativity among the employees. Then Dr. Bhola's presentation on enhancing early childhood mathematics and adapting pedagogies for future challenges was also very interesting on the flipped HTML5. I was just thinking that you said in the end that there was enhanced teacher engagement and improved engagement of children. And I thought how complementary that is. If there is enhanced teacher engagement, I think enhanced engagement of children is a natural fallout of it. So, and technology integration in teacher education is the need of the hour with continuous professional development. Very interesting. And the last presentation on ChatGPT, it just showed us that reliance on technology has to be done. We need the human element more. Human intelligence is much more profound and better than ChatGPT. And I just began to wonder that ChatGPT can do complex things. I know so many of my colleagues who go to ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to give them ideas on a research paper, and then they write it out. But ChatGPT can't solve grade 6 problems. So that was very insightful for all of us. Let me now open it to the audience. If you have any questions, we have about 10 minutes for questions and answers.
Okay, yeah. Just to respond a bit to the question that you asked me about the reactions, a bit of academics on the one hand and on the other hand of the students. In fact, academics, they have this constraint of working on what you call curricula. And these are actually, overseen by the Higher Education Commission that they put emphasis on what are the learning outcomes and how you must ensure that the program meets the standards both of the HEC and the universities here. Now, when we are broadly speaking of Industry 5.0. Therefore, now we are thinking how we can merge all these things. What are the expectations of the industry and how we can have programs which are aligned with the Industry 5.0 strategy. So now you have this challenge. See, on the one hand, you have to create programs that match the HEC needs. They have many, points of. I can give you have some 30 points that you must meet very strictly, and then your course is accepted by the HEC, and then you can provide the course to the students. So at the level of academics, now they are thinking that we must incorporate these elements, these new elements, because if you're going to stick to what we are doing very strictly, it's not going to work at that level. Okay, so that's from the part of the academics. Concerning students, I think they are not responding. They believe that the program that we provide them is actually quite good because it already involves them in what called industrial placement. At least to some extent now they are trying to go out in the world of work and try to find out the real challenges, you see, compared to what you have in the classroom. And they're also thinking that they must have curricular programs, new programs included for them, whereby they can develop capacities for themselves, capabilities for themselves, like ethics, critical thinking, problem solving, etc. Because, I don't know, the programs that we have created nowadays, especially with learning management systems, Moodle, etc., what we have is programs are tailor-made for everyone. In our time, we had to look for books. I have discussed with some colleagues here and there. Look for books, look for material, photocopy, do this and that. So actually, everything is provided to the students. So where the element of what you call critical thinking, personal involvement. So this is how we have to review the curriculum, review the program slightly so that you can find the students can find the program more engaging for them. So we have this dilemma both on the part of academics and students. I don't know whether it's going to be fully solved, but I think we can make an approach to work positively to converge toward these ideas. Thank you.
I think it's quite a challenge because to get critical thinking from students, the teachers have to do much more critical thinking to pose those questions that students can work on. Any other questions on any of the presentations?
Okay, we have a comment from Professor Mariai. Yeah?
Can you hear me from here?
but we'll be happy to have you here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just a comment to say how appreciative I am of all the papers that are presented, but I have a kind of a general reflection that I want to make on the research methods and the inferences that are drawn from data. And this is something that we engage with our doctoral students very often. I think when we use Likert scale on self-perception, and then we interpret that result as actually showing a connection, I think there has to be some degree of caution in the kind of interpretation that we make. So if I take, for example, the presentation on leadership, the target for the questionnaire was actually, the leaders. So that was your sample. And obviously there are limits to that sample. Moving from that sample and a self-reported, self-perception-based questionnaire to make a comment on what is actually happening on the workplace, perhaps you need to have some triangulation as to how do the workers actually perceive whether the data is being used ethically or not. So I'll give you a simple example. Very often in terms of recruitment, what kind of data should be made accessible to the employer? What kind of information about the medical background of people need to be made available to the employer? And how does that impact on the equity in terms of employment and recruitment? And how can that be used as well by employers? For example, the number of sick leave, you get to see what I'm saying. So very often when people respond to questionnaire, there is always the politically correct stance that people take. So when we make the inferences, there needs to be, I think, some degree of caution exercise to drawing the inferences to say that it is actually showing this is happening, in the workplace, because that's a self-perception. But it applies to all the kinds of research. So there is the rigor of the statistical analysis that we make, but the limitations and the prudence, with which we make inferences has to be perhaps thought about. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That's very insightful and very pertinent, because perhaps the title of the presentation could have changed to a self-perception study of leaders in Mauritius on AI. And I also saw this in another presentation where there was strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree. There was no option for I don't agree, I don't have anything to say about it, I'm neutral about it. That was forcing people to say what they want. So Likert scales, and rating scales, though we think they are objective, they are filled with a lot of subjectivity. Any more questions or comments?
Okay, we have Paul Farmer here.
Thank you. So I have a comment and then a question. Comment, that's why I think I've retained Dr. Devi here. The comment that in physics, you have the de Broglie principle of wave-particle duality in physics. Now today I've learned about another duality, the technologisms that I'm calling technologism and humanism. So I think this is something that today I've started thinking after your presentation. Most probably I will come back to you for a collaboration, because I'm used to developing projects and work on projects. Yeah, I've been offered a project by ADA as a consultancy. So I'm working on that once it's finished in 1.5 months' time. So I'll come back to you and propose to you something about the relationship between the science and the philosophy. So I think before I retire from MIE, this is something I would wish to venture. Okay. So, and the comment that I had, I'm sorry, again, coming back to you, Linsha. You said about that the survey that you conducted, mostly female respondent answered. So my question is, then is it not that the findings is skewed?
So, in my demographic part of my study, there were more females than males that answered that. So we see a biasness in terms of a gender. And this is actually a limitation in my study, whereby I say that we cannot generalize the study to the whole population of executives. And due to some word limitations, slide limitation, I could not include everything, but it is definitely in my full paper that I'm going to send out for publication in the MI journal. I have answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinsha. Is there any more, are there any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Dr. Sabha.
This is the previous presentations which were done, and this question is to Dr. Rajendra Dubai, I think. I
Devi,
hope
sir.
that
Devi,
is there.
just a comment. So I would like to react to process. She's asking. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, so this is an appreciation and then a question. So India is a proponent of Vedic philosophy, and the ethical and the moral considerations of Vedic philosophy is still very much relevant in education system for educating students. And the ethical and moral implications apply to use of technology too. Dr. Dabi, your paper on redefining humanhood from Advait philosophy has inspired us too. And I have a question on a very important human resource, that is teachers. And my question is, what are your insights to redefine or elevate teacher efficacy from the perspectives of Advait philosophy?
Thank you, Madam, for your questions. Very pertinent. I don't think in 5 minutes I will be able to make justice to it, because it's very profound. But as I mentioned in my presentation, I had mentioned the Guru Shishya Parampara. And of course, if you are a little conversant with Advait philosophy, you will know that the Advait tradition goes far back in time, and it's a long established tradition. The methodology that has been used, there is a certain pedagogy that is in the Upanishads, which started back in the Vedas. If you have heard of the Brahmacharya Sukta, maybe you'll know. And this developed in the Upanishads. And the Upanishads give a lot of importance to Guru Shishya Parampara. And this tradition has been brought to a higher level in Advait philosophy. I just quote some text. If you have time, you can go through it. If you have heard of the Upadesh Sahasri by Adi Shankaracharya, and it lays down all the characteristics that a teacher should have, and all the qualities that a student should have. What are the different methodologies that a teacher can use to impart knowledge? Because in Indian philosophy, we are a little counterintuitive in the sense that we start with the assumption that we already know everything. It's just that there is a veil of ignorance that has to be removed. I referred to the term Maya Vidya earlier. So we are already, as I mentioned, we are already everything. The difference is that we don't know that what we are. It's like you're wearing a necklace, but you don't know where it's around your neck, but you're looking for it everywhere. It's just an awareness. So I think all these kinds of pedagogies, they are timeless, they are perennial, they are available for all humanity. Unfortunately, because they're in Sanskrit, because they're confined to a particular culture, and perhaps there is some bias there, these methodologies are not brought in the mainstream educational process. That is my endeavor, that is my mission. So I hope I have been able to satisfy your curiosity, but I invite you to go do some exploration on Advait. Thank you.
Sorry to intervene. We request Savita Sable to mute herself, please. Thank you.
Dr. Dabi, in connection to what you shared with me, one of the goals of Advait philosophy is self-awareness. I think it's coming from the audience.
There is some interference.
So one of the goals of Advait philosophy is self-awareness, and I would like to share our best practices, which we have. We are into the system, and we conducted a strength appreciation test of teachers. and from where we came to know the 5 top strengths that teacher has, and based on those strengths, the capacity building starts and we are able to harness their potentials. And that strength appreciation test was basically the self-awareness. So yes, I do agree that this philosophy, whatever our culture, whatever our ancient philosophy, whether it is Western philosophy or Eastern philosophy, do have a high impact in the education system. Thank you, Dr. Dubey.
Thank you, madam. And we will be grateful if you could share, the method that you use. We could replicate it here.
Sure, sure.
So, actually, I had a question also to ask, and also I want to thank Professor Rama for suggesting a collaboration in the future. It would be a pleasure to collaborate with you, sir. It's an honor also. So I had a question for my friend there. You used ChatGPT, and he undermined to some extent the efficacy of ChatGPT. Just I wanted to know, did you use, which version of ChatGPT you used, and what kind of prompts you gave to ChatGPT so that he comes up with this kind of question?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the version that we use is ChatGPT 4, right? And the prompt, so we alternate the prompts so that to make the questions clearer to them. So the first one was just solve the problem. And then in the second go, it was solve the problem using non-algebraic or using logical reasoning. So we try to give them, to give it as much as clearer information.
As far as I know, when you use ChatGPT, first of all, it has to be given a role. You have to put ChatGPT in a role. Like you have to say, you are a primary school teacher, you don't know how to teach with this kind of student. Then the model will enter into that mouth, and then from that perspective, it's going to start with answering questions. So
yeah.
Maybe while engineering the prompts,
we
have
could
to be very careful.
Yeah.
Because sometimes maybe we are actually the source of the error instead of the machine. Because we wrongly prompt them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Well,
thank you.
Yeah.
I did the run for actually we did talk like provide answers as and primary level students for primary level.
Okay, thank you very much for all the questions and answers on our side here. I think we need to move to the next level. So I leave the floor to you on your side, and then we'll be closing from here.
Thank you, Dr. Acha, and thanks to all the presenters. I now give the mic to Dr. Sabne.
Yes, so we are
Thank you very much.
Stage of the last part of our this conference, and I request Bharti to continue the scene.
Before we move forward, I want to extend a sincere thanks to Dr. Rosal Archana and Dr. Shakil Achia for leading the chair for today's paper presentation session. Your guidance and expertise have been invaluable, fostering insightful discussions and encouraging us all to strive for excellence in research. The thoughtful feedback and unwavering support have greatly contributed to the success of the session. We are truly grateful for your dedication. Thank you once again in the role of making this event a meaningful and enriching experience for all. We'll now have our valedictory function. These 2 days have provided much food of thought. With the ideas and discussions, it left us with more scope of action. As we head towards the conclusion, to sum up this conference and give the glimpses of the proceedings, I request Ms. Cecilia De Costa from NCT College of Education and Research to share a report of the event.
Yes, please.
Day 1 report at International Conference on Envisioning Industry 5.0, a holistic learning environment. Distinguished guests, esteemed participants, and my dear colleagues. Good evening from India and good afternoon in Mauritius. It is my honor to present the day one report of our highly successful international conference on Envisioning India 5.0, a holistic learning environment, which has been a remarkable gathering of minds in a hybrid mode. This event, jointly organized by MCT's College of Education and Research and the Mauritius Institute of Education, in collaboration with Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, has set a new benchmark in fostering a collaborative and inclusive learning atmosphere. Aim of the conference aims to provide a platform to discuss the opportunities and challenges of innovative teaching and learning approaches, along with strategies to cultivate critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. Additionally, it explored best practices from an international perspective for designing inclusive learning environments. The role of technology in enhancing workforce skills and fostering a culture that prioritizes lifelong learning and continuous improvement. The day commenced with Dr. Savita Sable felicitating our guest speakers, and later we had at 10 a.m. with the virtual lighting of the lamp, symbolizing the illumination of knowledge and wisdom. Later, we had started with welcome and introductory addresses. This was followed by a warm welcome address delivered by Dr. Savita Sable Madam, Principal and Convener at MCT's College of Education and Research. Dr. Sable highlighted the significance of this conference in shaping a holistic and inclusive educational landscape. Following this, at 10:10 a.m., Dr. Hemant Besson Dial, Director of the Mauritius Institute of Education, delivered the introductory address. His words highlighted the evolving landscapes of education and the crucial role of hybrid learning models. Dr. Besson Dial emphasized the need for collaboration and innovation in education to meet the evolving demands of Industry 5.0. This auspicious beginning set the tone for a day filled with insightful discussions and thought-provoking presentations. We were privileged to have two esteemed keynote speakers who provided deep insights into the theme of the conference. Professor Arnab Bhattacharya, Center Director at the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education and Professor at TIFR, Mumbai, delivered the first keynote address from 10:15 a.m. His topic, the wonderful holistic teaching learning environment called home. What the pandemic taught us about science education was a compelling examination of how the pandemics reshaped our approach to science education, emphasizing the need for adaptability and resilience in our teaching methods. He shared his experiences conducting experiments, including those related to the pandemic, and encouraged others to find joy in fundamental research. He also discussed strategies for engaging teachers and students in educational institutions, with a focus on using everyday life experiences to relate concepts taught in textbooks. Following Professor Bhattacharya, Professor Dr. Jayalakshmi Naidu from University of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, presented her keynote address. Her presentation on Envisioning Industry 5.0, exploring personalized, collaborative, and sustainable technology-based education, provided an in-depth exploration of how personalized and technology-driven education can pave the way for Industry 5.0. promoting collaboration and sustainability. Professor Naidu emphasized the importance of ongoing education and the shift from content-centered learning to human-centered learning for Industry 5.0, which integrates human creativity and critical thinking. She highlighted the role of artificial intelligence and virtual reality in various fields, the need for collaboration between humans and machines, and the importance of holistic education. Professor Naidu presented her recent research articles that focused on personalizing learning systems during the COVID-19 pandemic and the integration of indigenous knowledge and culturally-based activities into education. The morning session continued with insightful talks from our distinguished guest speakers. At 11:15 a.m., Dr. Indrajit Thopte, an esteemed child and psychiatry expert from NHS UK and co-founder of Media, took the stage as our guest speaker. Dr. Thopte's presentation on enabling holistic inclusive environment provided profound insights into creating inclusive educational settings that cater to diverse learner needs. Dr. Indrajit Thopte shared his personal journey towards self-acceptance and discussed the importance of education, role models, and a multidisciplinary approach to addressing mental health issues in children. Further, Dr. Thopte emphasized on the impact of social media on mental health and the significance of early intervention and secure attachment in a child's development. He also emphasized the need for understanding and encouraging children's interest, the increasing recognition of neurodiversity, and the impact of childhood trauma and the neglect on future health and well-being. Lastly, we discussed the importance of addressing mental health disorders in children, the potential benefits of limiting phone usage, and the behavior and the development of alpha generation. The session concluded with a question and answer segment, allowing participants to engage directly with all the speakers and delve deeper into discussion topics. Post-engaging question and answer sessions at 12:10, we welcomed our next guest speaker, Dr. A.K. Sengupta, founder and convener of the Higher Education Forum, Mumbai. Dr. Sengupta's discourse on holistic teaching and learning environments offered a comprehensive view of the strategies and practices essential for nurturing holistic educational experiences. Dr. A.K. Sengupta led a discussion on the state of education in India, highlighting its fragmentation and misalignment with international standards. The conversation also touched on the need for a more holistic and outcome-based approach to education, as well as a focus on quality than equity. Dr. Sengupta advocated for a competency-based education system to better prepare students for a rapidly changing economy and supported the recommendations made in the National Education Policy. The conversation ended with a call for improvement in the education system and a shift towards a more outcome-based learning approach. The session was followed by another interactive question and answer segment, enhancing the collaborative spirit of the conference. Dr. Sengupta discussed the challenges and the future prospects of Indian education system. He highlighted issues such as lack of basic skills, the separation of arts and science education, and the need for more independent education system. However, he also expressed optimism about the potential for change and the benefit of current national education policy, which focuses on multi-skilling and vocational education. Dr. Sengupta suggested that diversifying one's skill set beyond their primary field of study can increase employability and allow for sector transitions. Lastly, potential changes in the education sector, particularly concerning teacher roles and the introduction of new systems, were discussed, with a focus on the need for individuals to be prepared for upcoming changes and transitions. Post Dr. A.K. Singh Gupta's session, we concluded with a morning session with a lunch break at 1:15 p.m. Afternoon session. After a refreshing lunch break, we reconvened at 2 p.m. for the paper presentations, which were conducted in the 3 breakout rooms using Zoom for our hybrid participants. Each room focused on a different sub-theme and was expertly chaired and moderated by a distinguished panel. For our breakout room 1, which was in the conference room, the sub-theme was critical thinking for skill development. The chairperson was Professor Dr. Yashwant Ramasir, moderator Dr. Jyotirmay Nayak Madam, and number of presenters were 6, out of which 5 were presented yesterday. Then for breakout room 2, the sub-theme was holistic teaching and learning environment. And for that, chairperson was Professor Dr. H. Maria, and the moderator, Mrs. Bhavna Panchal Madam. And again, there were a number of presenters which were allotted was 6, and out of that, 5 had presented. For breakout room number 3, sub-theme was holistic professional competencies, enabling holistic inclusive environments. The chairperson for this breakout room was Dr. Narendra Deshmukh Sir, moderator Dr. Pratima Sabri ma'am, and number of presenters was allotted was 7. Out of 7, 5 were done, 4 were offline, 1 was online. This session showcased a diverse array of research and innovative ideas reflecting the conference theme and the participants' dedication. The discussions were vibrant and the insights shared were invaluable. Conclusion. Day 1 of our conference was resounding success, marked by stimulating discussions and forward-thinking ideas. The collective expertise and the passion of our speakers and participants have truly set the stage for a transformative journey towards a holistic and inclusive educational future. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all speakers, participants, organizers, volunteers, for their contribution and engagement. With this, I end my day 1 report. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. DeCosta. I now request Dr. Shakil Achia from MIE to share the report for day 2.
Thank you very much.
It will be curious to share more of film than.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, I don't know I'm going to be as long as I should have been, but due to the fact that we have a little less time to prepare everything for day 2. So let me start with day 2 in action. Okay, so the first picture is showing the chairing of day 2, which started with Associate Professor Dr. Ramjan. Here I just had a capture of the screen to have the Mumbai counterpart to compensate what we are having here, and at the same time showing what is happening on the other side. Professor Kiran underscores the importance of strategic policies for advancing STEM education, emphasizing curriculum development, faculty training, infrastructure enhancement, and industry collaboration to align educational outcomes with economic and technological needs. He shared the working version of the STEM strategic framework being developed by the ministry. And then we had the pleasure to hear from Dr. Rajendra for the first presentation. Dr. Rajendra Debi, through the lens of Vedanta philosophy, explores the profound philosophical challenges posed by Industry 5.0, advocating for a balanced view that respect human values amidst technological progress. Emphasis was laid to new approaches to humanism, namely transhumanism and posthumanism. This was followed by S. Sapna and Prof. Maya, who highlighted the role of ethnobiology in bridging environmental and cultural perspective, promoting sustainable practices that honor both ecological balance and cultural diversity. It was then followed by Dr. Frances Vaidya, who discussed the imperative of fostering holistic and inclusive environments in the era of Industry 5.0, stressing personalized and culturally responsive teaching methods, inclusive curriculum design, and the use of technology to enhance accessibility. Mrs. Akalu emphasized integrating ethics and social responsibility into Industry 5.0, learning and working practices, preparing an ethnically grounded and socially responsible workforce. This was followed by the intervention of Dr. Nausheen and Ms. Shaheen, who explored the role of education in promoting universal human values through awareness of the United Nations functions, fostering respect, empathy, and cooperation among students for a diverse global society. This was followed by Dr. Ramasamy Kulan intervention, where she investigated ergonomic risk associated with remote work post-COVID-19, highlighting the need for proper home office setup to prevent musculoskeletal disorders and promote productivity. Then Mrs. Toshina Chedi and colleagues evaluated the implementation of education for sustainable development at the UTM, identifying barriers and suggesting strategies to enhance student engagement in sustainability initiatives. Emphasis was laid on curricular integration, mindset, training, and partnership, among others, to meet education for sustainable development. These integrated insights underscore the importance of multifaceted approach that addresses strategic, philosophical, ethical, sustainability, inclusivity, and well-being consideration to advance education and industry in the modern era. For presentation 2, being the moderator, I wasn't able to take any photos, so I'm going to be very brief on this one. We started with a presentation of Prof. Gagunka, who explained how the emergence of Industry 5.0 necessitates a paradigm shift from emphasis on computerization and digitalization to include humanization, and how it is related to higher education and the future workforce. There is a need to focus on new skill sets. This is something I think is very important to everyone. Rethinking education and collaboration between industry and academia. He emphasized on human-centered design and sustainability, equipping the workforce for the future beyond automation, and concluded the Industry 5.0 cannot be ignored by the higher education circles. This was followed by different presentation. I'm not going to give a brief of each presentation, which has already been done by Dr. Rosel. So I'm going to pass directly to my concluding note. The presentations collectively underscore the pivotal role of holistic education, technological integration, sustainability, and ethical frameworks in advancing education system, which is going to be very important both for Mauritius and India. From the strategic framework for promoting STEM to the exploration of AI pedagogical potential and integration of arts in STEM, that is STEAM, the insights emphasize the need for policies and practices that bridge academic learning with industry demands. They highlight the importance of fostering key skills, STEM skills, Industry 5.0 skills, such as critical thinking, creativity, ethical reasoning to prepare a student for the complexities of the workplace. Moreover, the presentation emphasized the significance of interdisciplinary collaboration, inclusive environments, and sustainability in education to nurture a well-rounded, adaptable, and ethically conscious workforce, essential for the socioeconomic advancement of both India and Mauritius. So I pens down here, thanking everyone for their collaboration at different levels. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shakil Achia. Now we move forward for the feedback from our delegates. I request our delegates, Ms. Hina and Ms. Soha Guha from Mumbai, to share their feedbacks on this two-day conference one by one.
पहले आप कर रहे हैं, हिना मैम कर
Welcome there. Any other? Welcome. A very good evening to everyone and to all the guests, eminent speakers in the last 2 days. In the last 2 days, we have been enlightening sessions by all the experts here. We have been very fortunate and I give my heartfelt gratitude to all the team members who have collaboratively worked towards envisioning all of us towards holistic learning environment. And I am very proud and thankful to Dr. Sable ma'am to have us all together from different divergent disciplines, as well as the theme for the conference is Envisioning Industry 5.0, and we have achieved that. Not we, you all have achieved that, and thank you so much to have all of us here. It's been all the expertise which have been shared by the different disciplines, and they have thrown lights on the insightful understanding, which gave us a deeper understanding from different fields. As we are graduate teachers, we teach degree college students, and to have a vision of different aspects of through different disciplines, it gave us an understanding and deeper understanding of how the different aspects can help us to have a learning and holistic learning environment has been achieved here. The conference did a commendable job of bringing together different educators, industry professional expertise, and I hope to have such more session and conference to have collaboration across the globe, when we have conference we have within India, but when we have conference with the other part of the country and other part of the world, it gives us more insightfulness and to understand the education system in India as well as in the other country, and how collaboratively we can work towards and give us a pathway to have a better country and a better world. Thank you so much.
You just Soma down.
Ms. Soma, you're online, no? We would over to you.
You see, ma'am, just check.
Yes.
Soma ma'am is there online.
We also welcome other delegates, Indian delegates.
Ranjita Ghosh.
Ms. Ranjita, Ms. Ketri, you're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I had the privilege of attending and presenting at this international conference on Envisioning Industry 5.0, a holistic learning environment, and it was incredibly enriching experience. Over the course of these 2 days, I was deeply impressed by the breadth and depth of knowledge shared by all the participants. Each presentation offered valuable insights, and the discussions that followed were thought-provoking and informative. As a presenter, I found the opportunity to share my studies particularly rewarding. The feedback and questions from fellow attendees were insightful and will undoubtedly contribute to the further refinement of my research. It was an honor to be part of such a distinguished group of scholars. Overall, the conference fostered a holistic learning environment that emphasized collaboration, innovation, and the exchange of ideas. I am grateful for the chance to participate and look forward to applying the knowledge gained to my future work. Thank you to the organizers and all the participants for making this conference a memorable and educational experience. Thank you.
Any other delegate from Mumbai or India would like to give a feedback?
Hello, may I please?
Yes, please.
Hello?
Yes, Ms. Kirti, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Good evening to all present here, online and offline mode, both in Mumbai and Mauritius. I am Dr. Ketki Satpute, Assistant Professor from Sri Narayan Guru College of Education. Well, I attended the conference and presented my paper yesterday. Thank you for that. And today here I am online. It was such an enriching experience to listen to the eminent personalities and renowned experts in the field and their views as guest speakers from both the countries in this two-day international conference on envisioning Industry 5.0, a holistic learning environment. It really gave us a real insight on various aspects of Industry 5.0, its expectations in relation to Education 5.0, and a very comprehensive overview of holistic learning environment. I could very well relate it to it being a teacher educator, and as it is in India, we are into the process of implementing new education policy 2020. So thank you very much for the organizers for deliberating on this such an important topic. So I congratulate and thanks organizers, the MCT College of Education Mumbai, Mauritius Institute of Education, HBCSET IFR Mumbai, and their team for conducting this session so systematically and organizing the event successfully. A big thank you. Well, I should thank the MCT also for arranging the breakout rooms for the smooth presentation. So a very big thank you for MCT's college and their entire team for their hospitality and the support during the presentations. I'm sure the conference has kindled the thought process and will inspire many of us to work further continuously in this area. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, delegates, for your feedback. I now request our delegates from Mauritius, Dr. Rajendra Dubey, and any other online delegates from Mauritius to give their feedback.
Namaskar again, good afternoon. So it's a pleasure for me to provide a feedback on this prestigious international conference entitled Envisioning Industry 5.0, a Holistic Learning Environment. When I saw this title, when it was set for abstract submission, it immediately struck me. And I thought, in what way can I contribute from my field, from my area, in bringing a new perspective to understanding of the Industry 5.0. So I am deeply grateful towards Mauritius Institute of Education and the Manjara Charitable Trust and the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education for having jointly organized this prestigious event, giving opportunity to so many researchers, academics, seasoned as well as early careers to present their ideas. And I think it has infused a new, fresh ideas into the thinking process. And the organization was top-notch. We have been very well received. As I was saying earlier, I think to Professor Anwar, in Sanskrit we say Atithi Devo Bhava. So we have been well received, and I think in India also the feeling is the same. We hope that you reciprocate. At the same time, I think this conference has, MIE is always at the forefront of what happens, the debate that is happening. And I think Industry 5.0 is going to shape the future. And therefore, we are gearing ourselves to embrace this future, but of course with some caution, as I mentioned earlier. We should be looking at all the different aspects of the presentations. I think so many people contributed so many ideas. All these ideas need to be synthesized in such a way that it brings out, a new way of looking at the future. Otherwise, I thank you again. And in case there have been any behalf on our part, I'm sincerely sorry. So thank you very much and wish you all a nice weekend and good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your feedback. Any delegates from Mauritius would like to give the feedback? Okay, can we move forward now? Yes. As we head towards the conclusion, I take this opportunity to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Yashwant Rama. Dr. Yashwant Rama holds a PhD in physics from Belarus State University. He is currently the head of schools of science and mathematics at the Mauritius Institute of Education, a teacher training institute. Professor Rama is actively engaged in a research of the conceptual understanding of science at primary level and physics at secondary level. His research also encompasses technology integration in teaching and learning, as well as the development of critical thinking skills. He is a regular peer reviewer for various local and international journals and research projects, and has published numerous articles and books, chapters in peer-reviewed publication. I request Dr. Yashwant Rama to deliver the valedictory address. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Dr. Professor Savita Sable, Principal and Convener from Manjara Charitable Trust College of Education and Research, Dr. Narendra Desmukh, Scientific Officer, Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Professor Mariai, Acting Head, Higher Education Cell, all participants and colleagues from Mumbai and Mauritius. A very good afternoon, good evening. This hybrid conference titled Envisioning Industry 5.0, Holistic Learning Environment, a synergy between knowledge and skills, is now concluding. Every great beginning must unfortunately come to an end. This event was a collaborative effort by three esteemed institutions: Manjara Charitable Trust College of Education and Research, Mumbai, the Mauritius Institute of Education, Mauritius, and Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. Throughout the two-day sessions, the intervention delved into convergence of knowledge and skills essential for Industry 5.0. Participants were engaged in rich discussions and dynamic presentations, sharing insights and innovative ideas that will undoubtedly pave the way for transformative educational practices. The diverse perspective and forward-thinking approaches discussed will be instrumental in shaping the future of education, ensuring it meets the evolving demands of Industry 5.0. We were honored to host esteemed experts such as Professor Arnab Bhattacharya, Professor Jayalakshmi Naidu, Dr. Indrajit Topte, Dr. Sen Gupta, Professor Kiran Bhajan, and Professor Daniel Komo Gagumba. Their insightful presentations spark a wealth of thought-provoking discussions and innovative ideas. We are deeply grateful for their contributions, which have significantly enriched our understanding of and opened new avenues for exploration in our field. The presentation from researchers based in both Mauritius and India were particularly inspiring. The diverse perspective and insightful research not only highlighted key advancement, but also fostered a collaborative spirit that promises to drive future innovations in education. We look forward to building on these discussions and exploring the new opportunities they have unveiled. Allow me to provide some context on the origin and evolution of our collaboration between MIE, HBCSC, and MCT's College of Education and Research. Our partnership began with a research project on critical thinking in 2021, which served as the initial bridge between our institutions. Together, we conducted workshops in both Mumbai and Mauritius with B.Ed and PGC students. These workshops allowed me to collect valuable data, the whole team, to assess the level of critical thinking among our trainees. We eventually published a booklet for our PGC local for Mauritius, and currently we are collaborating with another institution in Kerala for integrating critical thinking in life skills. This fruitful collaboration has now culminated in this hybrid conference, but rest assured, this is just the beginning. Our commitment to advancing education and research remains steadfast, and we are eager to explore new projects and initiatives. Future endeavors may include joint publications, the development of innovative teaching methodologies, and expanded workshops in other regions. We look forward to continuing this journey together, fostering a global community dedicated to enhancing educational standards and critical thinking skills. As you are aware, we intend to publish the proceedings of this conference. By the way, the abstract is already ready. There is an e-copy. We will just present it in a while. Unfortunately, my apology, we couldn't finalize it because we didn't receive all the abstract, and to do justice to all the participants, we were waiting to have all the abstract ready, but a soft copy is available. So during the course of next week, we will already issue the completed version of the abstract. So we will be publishing the proceeding of this conference, and we have, as you are aware, we have asked presenters to finalize their presentation and to submit them on the Manuscript Manager platform. It will be peer reviewed and eventually published. So we, the Mauritian and Indian teams, do not intend to stop here. Instead, we plan to seize this opportune moment to advance our collaboration. We will be exploring the possibility of organizing follow-up events, such as webinars and workshops, to delve deeper into specific topics covered during the course of the two-day conference. These initiatives will provide ongoing opportunities for professional development and knowledge exchange, ensuring that the momentum generated here continues to grow. Obviously subject to the availability of funds. Why not exchange of faculties among our institutions? As we conclude, we extend our heartfelt thanks to all the participants, speakers, and colleagues, as well as to the technical teams, both in Mauritius and India, who have really contributed in various ways to making this conference a resounding success. Let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration and continue to envision and build a future where education thrives. Let's hope for repeating this collaboration next year with more participation. Thank you.
Professor Rama, there's a request. As we have completed 95% of abstract and the whole booklet, so we will now release virtually the first page and the preliminary pages, if with your permission.
Yes. Yes, of course, we will do that now.
Yes. So,
thank you so much for your kind words. So, this one-of-a-kind conference includes the release of our conference souvenir and e-booklet. Please join us in celebrating the success of this conference. I would request Ms. Cecilia to release the booklet.
Okay. They have it already?
Can you go?
No, okay, you can proceed then. No, you can proceed.
Yeah.
Ganesh can help you. Divya can do this.
Divya ma'am, can you share the screen? Are you there?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Can you share the media of the abstract?
No chance, please. No, I don't have that file, ma'am, the original file.
Okay,
Just
fine.
explain them, like.
I'll share the screen now. I think we can share this. So this is the e-souvenir. We are right now working on it. And just a glimpse of, so that today at least it is visible to everyone. So let's go. Just few pages I'll just show. We are still working on it.
The first page of abstracts and then. Yes, you may start.
I guess few of the abstracts are being added already.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. It will be shared in the group as early as.
We'll be sharing the final souvenir very soon. Thank you, everyone.
As we come to the end of this two-day conference, I would render a vote of thanks. As we draw to the close of this enriching two-day international conference on Envisioning Industry 5.0, a holistic learning environment, I am deeply honored to extend our heartfelt thanks to all who have made this event a resounding success. Firstly, I would like to express a profound gratitude to our esteemed dignitaries, Dr. Indrajit Thopte, Dr. A.K. Singh Gupta, and keynote speaker, Dr. Arnab Bhattacharya, Dr. Jayalakshmi Naidu, Dr. Kiran Pujan, and Professor Daniel Gapunga, Dr. Shakir, and Dr. Roshal Archana for your insightful addresses and presentations has significantly enriched our understanding of Industry 5.0 and its implication for education. Your expertise have provided us with a visionary perspective on creating a holistic learning environment. A special thanks to Dr. Savita Sable and Dr. Hemant Desundayal from the organizing committee of MCT College of Education and Mauritius Institute of Education, Dr. Narendra Deshmukh, from the Homi Bhabha Center of Science and PSC. Meticulous planning and seamless execution ensured smooth running of this virtual conference, overcoming the challenges posed by the digital format. I extend my sincere appreciation to our moderators and panelists for steering the discussion so effectively and ensuring that all sessions were engaging and informative. Your contributions have sparked important conversation that will ensure influence future educational practices. We are also grateful to Goldbest High Vashi Principal, Ms. Madhuri Srivastava, and Dean of Academics, Ms. Deepamrita Desarkar, and the staff for their invaluable support in logistics and arrangement, which allowed smooth functioning of this two-day conference. To our attendees, thank you for your active participation and engagement. Your thoughtful questions and discussions have added great value to the conference. A big thank you to our technical team for their behind-the-scenes effort. Your dedication ensured a glitch-free virtual experience for everyone involved. Also, thanks to volunteer for your hard work and dedication. As we conclude, let us carry forward the knowledge and insights gained over these 2 days. Together, we can shape a future where Industry 5.0 and holistic education go hand in hand. Thrilled and proud to say that MCT College of Education, and HPCST is representing India, contributing towards transformation of education and stepping confidently into Industry 5.0 revolution. Thank you once again, and we look forward for future collaboration. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you all.
Can we stop the recording?
Yes, stop the recording.
Please stop the recording.
And we will end the meeting. Thank you all.
Now we can talk.
Congratulations to the whole team. Thank you.